All right, I'm going to show you guys how to use Nearpod. Nearpod, I have used a couple times. I've sort of used it when focusing on some writing skills to use in social studies. I have done one PowerPoint presentation on Nearpod to have the students learn about one part of the government on Nearpod. And I like using it. I think the only thing that is kind of tricky with Nearpod is seeing where the kids are at and how they are actually doing on the activities. But it is something that's kind of nice to use for different types of things like writing. And if you're somebody like me who uses Edpuzzle a lot, it's also nice to kind of shake it up a little bit. So you go to Nearpod and you want to create your account on Nearpod. Once you create your account, what you're going to do is you're in Schoology, you're going to go to Nearpod for your class down on the side here, and just make sure that your logins actually connect. You need to make sure that you are logging in with your Microsoft account as usual. Once you do that, it's going to connect over to Schoology, which is really great. The one thing that I like about Nearpod is that when you actually assign it to your students, it's super easy to assign on Schoology because it kind of actually puts the responsibility on them a little bit. Whereas with Edpuzzle, you have to upload the assignment, then you have to enable grading in order to even have it populate for your students. Nearpod doesn't work that way. So for the access testing today, I have students working on some Nearpod assignments. So if you go into materials on my page and you look at Wednesday, I put in 2 Nearpod assignments. I made them pages because what they need to do is they need to take this code. And if you notice, I have 2 Nearpod activities, so I have 2 different codes. And they're going to go into Nearpod themselves, and they're going to put the code in for the assignment. Now, where I get the code is through here. So if you go to your lessons, I found a couple activities, some writing activities that Nearpod actually created. They were not created by me. And I decided to save them to my lessons. And when I click on student paste right here, this means they obviously can go at their own pace when they can go at it. You click on that and it provides you a code, and it makes the code active for, I think, 30 days. So if students need to do makeup work or if they need to redo an assignment or something, they can go back into it. That code is the thing that I put here on Schoology. And they're going to click on Nearpod on the side. They put the code in, and then it brings them to that Nearpod assignment, and then they work through the assignment. Now, on my end, in the Nearpod activities, when I click on Nearpod here for the class, I can click on it here. I can look at reports. And when I go to reports, I can see all of the things that I have assigned to my students. And I'm going to click on something that I actually made, and then I'm going to show you how to make an assignment really quick. When I click on the assignment, you can see a report for all of the students and what they've actually done. So it says session from October, it looks like. So when I click on that, it's going to show student participation, how many kids actually answered questions, how many were either skipped it or they were probably absent, how many got correct answers, how many were wrong. And then you can see each individual student, what they got on their quiz, what they got on Draw It, on their participation. I'm going to go over what some of these mean in a second. The only thing that's a little tough is that it shows you every single one of your students who logged in and who actually completed the assignment. So unlike Edpuzzle, where it divides it up by class, this gives you the entire group of kids who have done your Nearpod assignment. But you can get a lot of data from them. So if you end up doing quizzes or anything, you can see a lot of data here. All right, if we go back to Nearpod, you have a couple options. One, you can look at your district library or school library if people have been creating things, so you could share things across classes if you wanted to. You can go to the Nearpod library and search a bunch of different assignments that Nearpod has either created or other teachers have created, and you can have students work on those if you want. That's helpful, like I said, with some of the writing activities. If you want to create your own, you are on your lessons and you can click Create. You can create a lesson that's content, media, or activities. You can put videos in. So if you've been making videos on YouTube and you can build in questions, kind of like Edpuzzle, you can do that. You can just make an activity. A lot of times I do a lesson because then I can kind of put like PowerPoint slides in. and it brings it to this page. You can add content activities, and what it does is it will add like one slide basically of a certain activity. So you can do slideshows, you can do time to climb, you can do matching pairs, you can do a poll, fill in the blanks, a quiz. So what I did is I clicked on slides, and then I would click on like creating quizzes to add questions. I'm going to show you one of the ones that I have created so you can kind of see how it works. One of the ones that I created was the Constitutional Convention. If I click preview, I had a slideshow that I sort of chopped up and I put onto Nearpod to just make the activities a little different. So if you click preview, you can see sort of what I did. I have general information here. I did, and after that, like an open-ended question. Why did they need to keep the meetings a secret? And then the students would type in their answer. One thing that I like about Nearpod is that I don't have to film myself, but what I can do is I can record my voice. So at the bottom of the page here, I recorded my voice going through the slide as if I was presenting it in front of the class. So the requirement was that students read this, but also listen to me presenting this to them on the computer. And then they go to their question and they would answer the question. So through the whole slide, I basically have a slide. I have a recording of my voice, which is usually like 30 or 40 seconds long. And then there's a question that comes after it. Once again, the questions I usually do are open-ended. They have to type in answers, but you can do multiple choice, or you can do like a poll where people vote for certain things. So it just depends. One thing that I've learned the most about Nearpod is that there's actually a lot of options on what to do and what you can create. So it's kind of fun to just kind of click and create certain things. I sort of play it safe, and I always kind of do sort of a PowerPoint with some easier questions or open-ended questions. But what's nice about Nearpod is it's just another thing to get the information out, to make some of these things instead of you being up in front of the class and lecturing. You're able to sort of record yourself doing that, which frees you up. And then you can monitor your student progress on the computer again, and you can get data and another way of grading things, which is great. So that's something that's super helpful.